Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Text us with your shout-outs and requests to 678-613-5857. Radio, knock them down.
Pound of news in the making.
All right, guys, we are back with Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda. Now, this is the segment on the show where we talk about what's trending, what's making headlines, what's booming on the gram. And I and my guests, we give our opinion on what, should have happened, what we would have done, or what, they could do to do better. And so before I get into that, I definitely want to introduce who's joining the conversation today. We have an amazing panel who's getting ready to shout me out of my seat before the end of the show that I want to introduce to you guys. So to my immediate left, we have none other than Miss April Parker Jones. She's an actress on Tyler Perry's television drama, If Loving You Is Wrong, that airs on the OWN network. Hello, April.
Beautiful. You look so beautiful, honey.
Thank you. Welcome to No Strings Attached.
Springy today. Oh.
Well, the sun was making me feel good, so I felt like I had to represent,
And that you did. Oh, yes. So well.
And then, it wouldn't be April if we didn't have Jay here, right?
Over there, to the left.
Yes, we have Hub sitting over here to the left, and he's done an incredible, I've learned about you recently after I met you that you even have, acting experience and a resume with that and a new project coming out. Absolutely. And so I'm excited for you to be joining the conversation, too.
Very much. It's a blessing to be here.
Yes. All right, to my immediate right, we have none other than Mr. Julian. He was actually handpicked by Oprah. Lord, we got to get into that a little later in the show, how that feels. To play David on the show that airs on OWN, Greenleaf, which I love. I love that show. So I'm excited to have you here and talk about all of that.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
And calling in over the line from L.A., we have the certified dating coach, radio host, and television personality, Damona Hoffman. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm so good. I wish I was there in studio with you. I feel like I'm missing the party.
You are definitely missing the fun, but you will definitely feel the vibes over the phone. There's good energy going on in here, so you should feel that over the phone. So we're going to get into a little bit later in the show exactly what you guys do and why you do it. But first, I want to ask you guys, what are you wearing to go see Black Panther?
You know what I'm sporting? I'm sporting this 4C natural afro, honey.
Yes.
But I sport this 365, so it ain't nothing new. But I'm grateful to Black Panthers. There's so much beautiful Black pride. It's just emerging, and I'm grateful to be a part of this revolution.
Yes. Isn't it incredible?
Awesome.
It's dope that we get a chance to say it. Of course, I'm rocking my Black Panther dashiki.
Yes, dashiki.
and we all want to be Wakandans, and I think it's such a wonderful wonderful statement to have at this time, to have where the president calls a black nation something other than what they're supposed to be called, and immediately, just 2 weeks after the president makes such a derogatory statement, we have this future vision of what Africa will be, not can be, but will be. So now we're all forcing and fighting to be Wakandans, and I think it can't be nothing but beautiful.
Yes. Damona, what about you? Are you planning to see the film, and if so, what are you wearing?
I haven't seen the film yet, but yeah, I would like to see it. I'm a mom. I'll probably be wearing my mom clothes.
Look, let's keep it all the way funky, right?
I'm kidding. I'll keep it cute.
All right, Julian, what about you?
I'm just going to walk in Hefe, the essence of Hefe. That's that leader, commander.
Let's go ahead and promote
so we
it.
might as well be out there. Now, I'm not even talking about the cream and fragrance line. I'm talking about just the essence of walking in as that king of Hefe. Excellent.
Kings and queens over here. I love that. Well, the movie is projected and by tracking services to gross some $175 million at the domestic box office over the 4-day holiday weekend, last weekend when it released. And it even has a chance to top the $166 million for that weekend period. And it's said to be one of the top of its time, you know, with the Marvel series and everything, which I love. And over the coming weeks, the action adventure is expected to sell past $350 million domestically. It could surpass $400 million. Marvel gave Coogler a budget pledged by trade reports at $200 million, nearly unheard of for the black director, and he superseded that with profit. And so I'm excited to see this predominantly black cast send such an amazing message, and it really, I think, unifies us as black people, and you see what it's done for all of us across the country. I mean, you've got airlines, you know, putting Wakanda as destinations in the airport, and so.
And it's global, not just in domestic. You know, we're talking all over the world. Worldwide, it's been such an amazing response.
Do you think this, you know, you guys are actors, and, you know, Damona's been on, you know, television as a host. Do you think the success of this film means the rise for new black-oriented films?
I sure do hope so, and I believe so. I think even before the film, there's been a resurgence of just so much more content that included black people, in interesting roles. So, but yeah, I absolutely believe that this is only going to help cinema for black actors.
Absolutely, I think historically Hollywood has been the last bastion of real segregation in this country. I mean, you know, there was a conversation had about whether or not, you know, white people or the country would support baseball if they integrated with black athletes, or football. And we see the mega industries that they've become. So I think now a film like this showing that not only can we deliver domestically, but also internationally, and having black people behind the camera as well, you know, bodes extremely well for us having the responsibility to take this to the next level.
I think what it does also, in addition to that, it provides a platform to the international level on the global stage to show that us here in America, and also in addition to other people that, you know, this film has worked with, it sets us, it raises the bar to what we're doing as a people and as a unit. You know,
I love it. I love it. And I mean,
and in addition to being on television shows, I actually have been a TV producer for many years, and I started the diversity program at NBC. And for me to see this evolution where even 10 years ago, we were told a black cast cannot open a movie. You can't, it will not sell internationally. And to see the results of the opening weekend really fly in the face of that and prove that it's show business and that African Americans have buying power and will go out and support our movies. We're going to see a lot more of these kind of movies made and our stories being told.
I'm so excited about it, and I love it. I really do love it. And one of the things that I love, too, one of the actresses in this movie, Lupita, she had something to say about the dynamic between the men and women in this film, and I loved her response on it, and I want to talk about it right after the break, guys. So keep it locked right here. It's No Strings Attached.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here. Probably. Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special, qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network.
They say everyone should have one. I'm thinking about getting me an appointment.
Okay, so we're back. Me and April are back here reminiscing about our basketball days. So I wanted to talk to you guys about Lupita. I love her. I love the energy that she's bringing to Wakanda. And she was recently asked this question during an interview. And the guy who was interviewing her says, you know, one of the striking things to him about the movie is that you not only see, you know, the women protecting themselves, but you see them protecting the men in the movie. Right. And he said, I've never seen a movie that allows women actors to be that many people in a movie. And, you know, I loved every bit of her response. This is what she had to say. She says, I think in a sense it shows us an idyllic gender relation situation where the women are allowed to assume their power. They're allowed to realize their full potential alongside the men. And the men are not threatened by the power of the woman. Their powers are complementary, and there's something for the entire world to look at and consider with that. The feminist struggle is not a struggle to strip men of their power. It's a struggle for equality, for us to realize our own.
Absolutely.
And I was like, oh, Lord.
I could definitely test that.
So, Damona, I want to kind of unpack this for a little bit. You know, why do you think, one, you know, there is such a power struggle between men and women today, or that there can be such a power struggle between men and women today?
Well, we're just in a really interesting time in history where women are stepping into our own power in the workplace and in various social settings. And I always say this is the best time ever for a woman to be single because we have so much choice and we have so much power, but sometimes it gets misread in the dating scene, and you know, I think what she's speaking to is we're trying to figure out where all of us belong as these gender roles are shifting, and as women are coming into our own in the workplace and in various other aspects of our life.
I agree. Julian, for you, you know, do you think that men are threatened by this power that women have today, especially today because it's just growing by leaps and bounds, where women are really stepping into their own and realizing their worth and their value, and they're really showing up in ways that we haven't, I think, for a long time?
I believe that a good number of men are intimidated because they don't understand the identity of the woman. They don't understand their own identity. And a lot of them have fell short on their own goals and ambitions and dreams, And so there's insecurities there. So you can't properly appreciate a God-given gift to you to help you in your purpose if you're not even moving in it.
Wow.
So I think once they realize
Julian, are you preaching today?
I'm just letting it happen. It's flowing, you know what I'm saying? You just got to let it flow. Like me.
That's a good beat. And to piggyback on it, and Julia, you're absolutely correct, but then there's this flip side of empowerment, where it becomes a woman who's not only empowered, but she becomes a bossy woman that starts to feel like she's elevated.
And I think that's what Damona was saying, where sometimes it could be misread.
Absolutely. And I think what you see in Wakanda is that even though this woman is clearly powerful, she's not emasculating the man and trying to make him, you know, the feminine movement, like she said, was not to strip men of their power. But I believe that's as an unfortunate side effect has begun to happen, and particularly in the black community, where black women may have felt, you know, marginalized for so long, and now that the script has been flipped, we don't want to have the opposite happen. We don't want the men to be marginalized in the process of these women being elevated, you know. So I think that's what the movie clearly demonstrates, and I think that is a huge takeaway for relationships, especially black relationships, is that we all are kings and queens, and it takes both royal heads to run the kingdom.
And go ahead.
No. And I just want to piggyback off of what Jay was saying, that I totally agree. I think it's more about the union, us coming together and working together and coexisting instead of being so divisive with each other. So I think, although I have not seen the movie, just from what Lupita said, what you quoted, I think that's what she was trying to really stress, the importance of us coming together, working as one, because we're always more powerful when two come together, right?
Yeah. And so, you know, I got the opportunity to meet you and Jay a couple weeks ago at an event, and I loved how you guys talked about roles, because today we can get so caught up in who's supposed to play what role, and not really just whatever's the best role for the team. And so you guys just talked about that. So April, what does it mean to you, you know, as a wife and supporting your king, to be able to play that role, to support him even when you maybe have to be the breadwinner and he's the one that's holding the home down, and vice versa?
I mean, it takes a large level of maturity. But it takes that person being important enough to you to be mature and to compromise and to say, you know what, this is the role that I may play, you play that role, and they're equally as important. I think that's the trap. We start making one role more important than the other. But as Jay likes to use this whole game analogy, like, look, it's about the team winning. You know, winning the championship. You might be the quarterback, I might be the wide receiver, but if we like in basketball, you know, I may be on the fast break, but if we win, that's the ultimate goal.
That's
winning.
the goal. That's the goal. Well, I love it. I love it. Keep it locked right here, guys, because coming up after the break, we're going to talk about Bae or Buster later on in the show. So if you haven't put in your vote for this week's Bae or Buster poll, follow me at DClark&Co on Instagram. Put in your vote and let me know if this week's poll is totally Bae or just a straight up Buster. Keep it locked.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through. Like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized and influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss. From the Macy's shopping party to the Ultimate Girls Night Turn-Up or the 13th Annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D to this year's Donna Brazil, Jen Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power.
Deliberate dumbing down.
Dumb down society. Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this? Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumb down.
All right, so where they at? You know, this is the #1 question that I am asked as a relationship coach and matchmaker is, Dominique, where are all the good men at? You know, are they hiding under a rock? You know, how can I position myself to be found? Where do I find quality men? And so I had to have a segment on the show where we talked about it, right? And I like to start this segment off with my guests because I find that if I ask you guys where you guys met and where you found your current or previous boos, you know, it might give us some insight on where we could look also. So, Damona, I want to start with you. I don't know your relationship status, so let us know if you are single or married and where you met your current or previous guy.
I'm married. I'm very married. We just celebrated 10 years of marriage.
Wow.
And
Congrats.
I met my husband online in 2003, way before school, way before anybody was saying that's how we didn't even tell people that's how we met. So it's interesting that's what my career path has become, because people came to me and they said, well, I tried online dating, it didn't really work, or I met this guy or that guy, and I'd say, well, let me see your profile, and I find that there was a mismatch between what my clients thought that they were putting out there and who they really were and what they were attracting. So I started as a dating profile writer because I met my husband online, because I know it really works, and I'm still doing this now 14 years later. I'm still helping people meet and find love that way.
I love it. All right, Julian, I'm about to get all in your business, sir. Where did you meet your current or previous boo?
So here we go. I'm going to show you something. So this is the first time anybody's heard me say anything on any type of media platform. So this is an exclusive for you.
Exclusive.
So I'm engaged. I'm going to be married at the end of this month.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations. That's awesome.
We actually met on POF.
Plenty of fish. Yes. Wow, I love that. Yes. Wow. I know Damona loves to hear that too.
Yeah. And it was
incredible.
Awesome. We connected, you know. She was actually about to cancel it because it wasn't something that I lived on.
Cancel her subscription.
Right. Okay. And she said she just saw this one last this message over here because her inbox was getting flooded.
And she was hot stuff.
Yeah. It is what it is, you know what I mean? I was looking. So she hit me, we just connected. We had met up for lunch, and 2 years later.
Wow. You got down on one knee, and there we go.
It wasn't even a year before I proposed. I knew what it was. So
I love that because, a lot of people say, it takes forever for them to know. It does not. Men know. They know earlier than what people think, if they found the one. So I love that you didn't waste any time. You're like, let me go ahead and lock this down. I'm so excited for you.
And just like I love watching y'all situation over here, James and April, because that's our situation. She's like, I was just a little bit reversed, a little differently, but we're out here grinding as a unit. As a unit.
That's what it's about, man.
And she's really that for me, everything, because I think so macro, and she does too, but she's very good at the logistics and the micro.
Details.
And she when I'm
It's
so
important.
between her, exactly, between
The
her and my
balancing
team,
act, yeah.
it's a wrap. So I'm just excited for everything.
All right, so he's off the market, ladies. I'm sorry. That deep voice belongs to somebody. All right, lovebirds. I love you guys. You know, I immediately fell in love with you guys when I heard you speak on the panel. So let the listeners know how you guys created this amazing power couple that you are.
I don't know. I wasn't looking. Sometimes you just don't need to look, and that's when you'll find. I certainly wasn't looking. I wasn't interested, but there he was 12 years ago, and here he still is. And it's been great, and I'm having a blast. Jay's awesome. We met doing a play together.
Okay.
12 years ago in New York City.
And
we've been. The show was called Plenty of Time.
Yeah.
It's a 2-person stage play. You know, that started off where we started off at what, baby? 16. We started off at 16 in the play.
Oh, in the play, yeah.
And then it goes on until you know, we're 40-some years old.
Wow.
And the lights went down in the theater and went up in our hearts.
I love it. You better be romantic, Jay. I love that.
So yeah, it's been great. We're both artists, so that really helps with us being able to connect on that level and understand and get each other. You know, so it's been great.
I love that. Well, I want to give you some ideas. Normally, I name a place, or sometimes I give a scenario. And this week, I'm going to give a scenario. And this week's scenario about where to find a good guy, where they at. It's about uncovering your purpose and being in the midst of that. Sometimes when, like you said, it's not what you're trying to do. It's not, I'm trying to do this. I'm going to try to find this man. No, it's getting busy in your calling, whatever your assignment is, getting lost in that, and then that person finding you. And then when they find you in that space, they are in alignment. They understand what's happening. They get it, like you guys. They're able to value what you're doing, and then they appreciate the calling that God has on your life and won't try to disrupt that. And so sometimes that right guy, that perfect girl, is somewhere watching, lingering around. Because I always say that people start dating you before they actually start dating you. They're looking at you. They're watching you, how you're behaving, how you're moving, who you're around, the circles that you're in. And sometimes when you're in the midst of your purpose, whatever it is that God has called you to do, there they are, and they'll find you. And so keep that in mind. And coming up, I want to get Damona's advice too, because she's a relationship expert and she works with this type of stuff all the time. So you definitely want to keep it locked right here to hear her response. It's No Strings Attached.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He'd guide us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
Everybody successful lays a blueprint out. We laid the blueprint out. I stayed true to my dreams, and by doing that, eventually it came true.
A lot of times, it's like in life, right? Life brings like drama, and you got to deal with this person, and then you funky relationship here, and all these things. You try and just kind of balance them out as best I can.
Make a choice, right? You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do.
Unleash your beast. Write your history.
All right, guys, we are back with the Snatchback, and if you are unfamiliar with No Strings Attached, the Snatchback is based off my best-selling book, She's Valuable, But Does She Know It? And this book I wrote because as a relationship expert and matchmaker, I work with so many amazing women around the country, and the first question that I ask them is, why you? You know, what makes you valuable and what value will you add to a relationship? And they have a hard time answering that question. You know, as women, we don't really think about ourselves that much in that way and how amazing we are, right? But they could give me the list of all their accolades, their, you know, professional achievements, their degrees, so they knew their professional worth, but personally, not so much. So at the back of this book is a 30-day snatchback where I'm helping women, one, identify their value, you know, what makes them valuable, but fearlessly communicate that thing. You know, not only in the dating space so that they can become better filters and selectors of mates, you know, and have more meaningful experiences, but so that they can start attracting what they're really deserving and worthy of in the world in general. And so I had to have a segment on the show about the ladies. So ladies, this is about you. And I start this off with my female guests because I know that you guys are both, you know, entrepreneurs, you're doing your thing, you're actors, you know, you're doing amazing things in the world. And so your stories will encourage someone else and empower them to tap into their gifts and not be afraid to kind of fearlessly go out there and do that. And so, April Parker Jones, I want to start with you. So, you know, I've come to learn to know you from a character you play called Natalie on Tyler Perry's If Loving You Is Wrong, and I love it. I love it. And she's an intense character, can be, right? Yeah. And so, what is it like preparing? What did you have to do? And she's a single mom on the show. You know, what is it like preparing for that role and to be Natalie in the show?
It's not really a whole lot of preparation, to be quite honest with you. I mean, like I've said several times before to friends and interviews, I mean, I really kind of pull her from my everyday life and how the voice I kind of use at home when I talk to my husband or my kids. So it's not a big stretch. You know, she's a relatable character because she's like so many women in my life. Right. You know, kind of, she has this wall up and won't allow herself to be loved in the way that she should be loved or deserves to be loved because she wants to be the martyr. She wants to be the hero. She wants to do everything herself so she can get the credit for it. But like we said earlier in the conversation, it takes a team to make the dream work. So, but yeah, as far as preparation, it ain't a whole lot. I'm just, you know, she is who she is, and I'm grateful to bring life to her. Yeah.
So you're a black woman in Hollywood.
I am.
You know, it has its struggles, I'm sure. Yes. What is that like? You know, what are some of the struggles that you feel like you face as a black woman in Hollywood trying to get the next gig and, you know, stay relevant and get the next role?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, up until recently, there really hadn't been a whole lot of roles available to us, and a lot of times in Hollywood, they like to use the same people over and over and over. They're afraid to kind of pull the trigger and try someone new. I am starting to see a slight shift in that, but up until then, it was just the amount of work that was available. So, and of course, you know, getting older, being a black woman who wears her natural hair, I feel like sometimes that might be a hindrance too, you know, but it doesn't make me not want to continue to sport who I am naturally. But yeah, it's a struggle, but I keep great people around me who continue to pour life into me and who encourage me, and I know that this is part of my purpose. So quitting's not an option.
So outside of the amazing role that you play on this show, you also have a more important role as a mommy and a wife.
Oh, the greatest role ever.
How do you balance? You know, you're chasing the dream. You are the queen to this king and the mom to these beautiful princesses that are outside. How do you balance all of that?
You know what? I try to make sure I find time to be by myself, even if it's seriously, even if it's just going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week for an hour and getting on the treadmill and working out. I do that, and it's my therapy, and it's a healthy way to kind of release some stress instead of going to a bar. But yeah, I try to find those moments, and then I just, like I said, I'm really grateful because I have people in my corner who I can really rely on, and and I keep going back to that because it's so important to have a tribe. You can't do this by yourself. So I'm just so grateful to understand that it takes a tribe. It takes a tribe.
So one piece of advice, we've got 30 seconds for the people who are dating or in relationships that you would have, you know, in understanding your worth in that space.
Well, I think it's what you said earlier. We just need to know who we are. If we truly know who we are and love who we are, then we can reflect that.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll attract. A lot of times, I know in the past before Jay, I wasn't attracting what I needed to attract because I didn't know who I was, and I really didn't love myself. So I think if we start by really truly uncovering who we are to the core and loving every part of us, then we'll reflect what we want in return.
I love it, guys. This is April Parker Jones. Catch her on If Loving You Is Wrong on the OWN Network. I'm so excited for the work that you're doing and will continue to do. Thank you again for saying yes, and we look forward to following you along the way.
Thank you.
Keep it locked, guys. We'll be back with more right after this.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do.
Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. You know, I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized, influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the ultimate girls' night turn-up or the 13th annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Henry Greer, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D, to this year's Donna Brazile, Jen Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power. Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me. Whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is big business. This is the American
Station Network.
See ya.
Text us with your shout-outs and requests to 678-613-5857.
Radio, knock them down.
All right, so April is not the only amazing woman that's joining our show today. We have Miss Damona Hoffman calling in from LA, and I'm so excited to hear her and have her here on the show. She's been doing amazing things in the love industry over the last a lot of years, for a long time. And so I'm excited to have her here. Again, she's a certified dating coach, radio host, and TV personality. We've learned that she's actually produced some shows being here on the show. So I'm excited to have you here. She's actually one of the hosts of a show that I actually followed and watched, which I love too. And it aired on FYI. It's called Black Love. And it kind of followed, you know, the love life of the dating experience of women, which we're going to talk about a little later in the show. So welcome again, Damona.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, your resume in the love industry is so colorful. And I was excited to read all about what you've been able to do, where you've been featured, and all that good stuff. And so what made you jump into the relationship space and say, you know what, I really want to be the person or one of the people to help singles really improve the quality of their dating lives?
Well, I'll tell you, it certainly wasn't a conscious decision. It was something like that I really was called to do. And it really began, as I was saying earlier, when I met my husband online and saw that this was an option for people that were not meeting the right kind of people out in their daily life. And I found when I went online, I was like, oh my God, all of these beautiful men have been here this whole time. And I didn't know that. But really, it was about knowing how to present myself to be able to attract the kind of relationship that I was looking for. And so that's what I've done for the last 14 years for singles. And then I've also evolved into becoming a relationship coach, and my last TV show on FYI was a relationship show.
A Question of
where
Love.
I helped couples who were moving in together for the first time, and that's how it is now. You know, It used to be you get married and then you move in. Now it's sort of the cart before the horse. You move in as a trial towards marriage. So I'm working with couples as well as singles now, and also the love expert for BET.com. So I write articles for them on the current situation, you know, what modern love really is today for Black women and men.
So good. So we're going to talk about BET, but I want to kind of back up and talk about A Question of Love for a second, because, you know, you mentioned about, you know, moving in together and how people now, the culture is that we're moving in before we say I do now, right? And, you know, that's a major decision that people can make in their relationship. So tell us what it was like working with couples, you know, in the midst of that decision, and, you know, what you found were some of the challenges in making that decision once it was made. Right?
One of the biggest challenges is that people had already made the decision before I came in. So these conversations really need to begin before you take that step in really figuring out if the person that you're with shares your values, shares your goals for the future, if you have mutual respect, if you are able to communicate and resolve conflicts together. Those are the tenets of a long-term relationship that really can stand the test of time. And on the show, I mean, great for television, but bad for relationships. They all said, yes, I want to do this. I want to figure out if this is the right person by moving in together. Yeah. So I came into the process and was like, okay, now we have to examine some of these other questions and do some exercises that really help you figure out, is this even the right person? Just because you move in together doesn't mean that you have to get married and that you are with the right person.
And, you know, that's so true. I think sometimes, you know, moving in together can put the pressure on extending a relationship longer than what it needs to be. Because, you know, you've invested so much. You know, you moved in together, now you're sharing a space, then it's where am I going to go from here, and kind of starting all over. So, yeah, so what is your biggest aha moment after working on this show, you know, with these couples as a coach? Like, what was your biggest aha moment and takeaway after working with couples in the midst of this experience?
Wow, that's a big question. I would say actually the biggest aha moment came for myself as I was doing the series, and this show came about very quickly, and I was suddenly on a plane and and in a daily shooting schedule without having that plan for my entire summer. And I have a family, and I have a husband, and it was really amazing to me how my husband stepped up to support me and support our family when I had something else that I was called to do. And now he's working on a show. He's a writer producer, and so, you know, I'm giving him the spotlight now. And I really had this revelation about relationships. Yeah, that sometimes it does require one person to step back and focus on the home, and one person to focus on, being out in the world and really build a relationship structure that works for you. A lot of people might look at my relationship structure where my husband, I consider us an equality marriage. And, he makes the lunches, he drives kids to school sometimes, he puts them to bed, he does bath time. And we were talking earlier about gender roles changing.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that look down on that model and say, well, I want to be a high-powered woman, I want to be top executive, I want to reach that height, but at the same time, I need a man that's also out there doing that all the time. And it's like, well, who's taking care of the home front?
Exactly.
So that was really my biggest aha moment, is finding a partner who really believes in building the life that you want to build. It's not all about how much somebody makes or what someone does for a living. It's about designing your life the way that works for you.
I love that, and I couldn't agree with you more. And I think for me and my husband, I'm in that position where he's letting me kind of go and run and do my thing. And like right now, he's home taking care of our girls. And so I love being able to have that. I love having that type of supportive relationship and just comfortability in who you are as a man and woman. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean that I'm less of a man or I don't know my value as a man or of a man, or vice versa, because I'm taking on, said role. And so I love that you guys have that. I love that April and Jay have that same, dynamic. And so I think it's something that most people today could really listen to and learn from, because it really, really, I think, helps create a more healthier dynamic in relationships today. So coming up after the break, it's not all about the ladies. We love the guys, too. We have 5 for the fellas right after this. It's your #1 source for relationship empowerment.
Hi, I'm Viola Davis. Did you know that 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger? Growing up, I was one of those kids, but we can solve this. When we make breakfast happen for kids in our neighborhood, we have the power to end childhood hunger, create bigger, brighter school days, and healthier minds and bodies. Go to hungeris.org and lend your time or your voice.
We're hungry for more.
A message from the Albertsons Companies Foundation and the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them. I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
All right, so it's time for 5 for the fellas, and this is a segment on the show where I like to highlight men, because there are more than a few good men out there, and I love being able to have dialogue with men and having them join the conversation. So we usually use this time to highlight what they're doing, the good that they're doing in the world, and we also like to get a few dating, and relationship tidbits from them, because it's always good to hear the male perspective. And so joining us today, we have Julian, and I want to give you some info about what he's all about, because he is a multifaceted man. He is a model, he's a director, a writer, producer, and actor. He was handpicked by Oprah Winfrey for his role portraying David on her own hit television series, Greenleaf. So let's go ahead and dig into that. Let's sit there for a little bit. Okay. What was it like? What does it feel like for Oprah to select you? I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
I mean, a lot of people, when I tell this story, and I try to switch it up every time, but I can't. But, I started as a background actor.
Okay.
And literally she came out on set, and next thing you know, we did a scene a couple times. I was her background, and she took notice and started a conversation with me. And
Wow.
from there, by the end of the day, I got bumped up to a feature spot with her, and then within 2 weeks, they gave me a co-starring role with her. So,
oh my gosh.
and just for me, just growing up with Oprah, you know, like I was telling some other people, like a lot of millennials, a lot of other people, they was born when she was already getting it.
Yeah.
You know, we saw it from the beginning. You know, I'm a little bit older than some people realize. So I saw her transition. I saw her growth. I saw that. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, wow, I have a different reverence for her. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is when like the selection was made and the opportunity was given, my biggest thing was I want to make her proud.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because she's fought so hard and she goes through so much that people don't realize.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to make sure she knows that she made a good choice in me.
Of course. I mean, it's Oprah. You don't want to let her down. And, you know, what it showed also was that even in playing a background role, you showed up.
I was there.
Didn't matter how small the role was, you gave
them bars too.
okay,
Let's go.
and she noticed that, and so it speaks to who you were and the energy, like you said, that you brought to set every day for her to notice and say, hey, we need to bump him up to, you know, an actual. What do you want to call it? A role on the show. Principal role on the show. That's awesome. So you played David. Yeah. So what is it like playing David on the show? Like, tell us about David.
You got to remember something. Well, David, from what I know of David and how I've embodied it, is just I'm there to help.
Yeah.
I'm there to keep an eye on her and much as possible and just lend my support to her because there's, you know, clearly we're close and everything and she trusts me, I trust her, and you know, that's just what my David's role is, to support her.
Yeah.
You know, and support Mavis, the character of Mavis.
Yeah.
He has a connection somehow with the family, and we'll just see how things go.
So was there any different prep between, you know, just turning the bar stools to now this leading role that you had to make in transition?
So you doing the most, right?
I'm just saying, because I got to listen. If I'm going from flipping bar stools to now having a lead role, there's going to be some things changing in how I prepare for that. Okay,
a leading role. It's definitely a role. It's definitely a great role. But I don't want people to misconstrue and think that, you know, anything. It's definitely a supporting role, and I'm grateful for it. But there really was no prep for it because I've been in nightlife and hospitality since I was 15 years old.
So you were ready for this.
I was already ready, you know, from bouncing, bartending, owning a club. So I was already, any position. You want me to cook? You want me to be the bouncer at the door? You want me to wipe the tables, bartend? What you want me to do? I'm there. So it was perfect.
So, you know, outside of the show, you have your own show, Raising the Bar.
Yes.
And it's traveling, right?
Yeah.
And so you just did a show here in Atlanta.
Yes, we
so
did.
First, tell us about the show and why this particular show now.
RTB, Raising the Bar, is a talk show where we deal with women empowerment. You know, I decided to go that route with it because I was already moving in that space.
Yeah.
You know, I always wanted to have a talk show. I love engaging with people. I love bringing people together.
Right.
And now it allows me to be able to honor, highlight, and identify key dynamic women in various markets and areas and introduce them to other generations of young women. You know, it allows me to take the Generation X and even the baby boomers, introduce them to some millennials, and then vice versa. And just in an environment where we can just celebrate, be happy, no guards up, and we just have a great time. And then they get to glean from one another, and the mentorship can truly be mutual.
Yeah.
You know, and me as a man, I just feel like with the platform I was given, let me use it now. I don't want to wait to be, quote unquote, the #1 actor or the #1 recording artist or the #1 producer, director in the world before I just say, you know, let me go ahead and step into this and give back. I'm giving back now with the little platform I do have.
I love that. Well, we don't want to call it little because a platform is a platform.
Well, when I say little, you know, just as far as my history within the industry, people don't, they would consider it's small. So I'm just telling them what.
So the show, Raising the Bar.
Yes.
It has another stop coming up next.
Yes.
Where will you be next?
Okay. We are in D.C. We'll also be making some moves in Charlotte as well as Vegas, L.A., Houston, Austin, Dallas, Chicago, New York, Philly. I mean, Miami. We're going all around the country and even going to go out to China and South Africa.
Yes, China.
Yeah.
So where can we follow you to get more information about the show so we can support it?
You can go to RTBTalkshow.com.
Okay.
Or any handle on any social media is RTB Talk Show. And then they can just check me out, Julian Brittano, on everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up, guys, we have more with Julie and Damona right after this. Keep it locked. It's No Strings.
Deliberate dumbing down.
Dumb down society.
Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this?
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
Strings attached.
All right, guys, it's your girl Dominique Clark, and you are tuned in to No Strings Attached, your #1 source for relationship empowerment. You know me as your favorite matchmaker and relationship mentor. You can catch me live. Well, actually, we've got to change up the scenario. Normally, I would say you can catch me live every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on the Sensation Station Network. But I'll go ahead and kind of share my announcement. Today, unfortunately, and it's not unfortunate, you know, it's good, but I'm sad to leave. Today is actually my last day, my last show on the Sensation Station Network. I've grown so much as a broadcaster here. I've learned so much, and I've got to interview so many amazing people in every industry, so it's really been a fantastic ride. So you won't be able to catch me here every Friday after tonight, but you will be able to catch No Strings Attached on the road. You'll be able to see me at every major event that's coming to a city near you. We want to make sure that we're in the building and providing the same type of dialogue and content right there where you want to be. And so I'm excited about that. And so, yeah, this is the finale show. I didn't want to make a big deal, you know, a big to-do about it, but it is. You know, I guess it is a big deal. And so make sure that you continue to follow me on social media at @DClarkandCo to see where I'm at next and see where No Strings Attached may have a new home. You never know. And big shout-outs, and I'll say this at the end of the show, to the Sensation Station Network and Prime for, you know, really building me up and giving me a place to grow as a broadcaster and share my gift with the world. And so I'm really, really excited and honored to have had that opportunity. So I want to jump back into Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda. This is, again, where we're talking about what's trending. So I want to get into some more trending topics, this one being a little bit more serious than the ones that we've talked about. And so, you know, we were all saddened by the shootings that happened at the high school in Florida last week. You know, our hearts still go out to the family. You know, we covered this last week on the show. But earlier this week, the 45th president shared his solution to school shootings. Donald Trump has said he will consider a proposal to arm school teachers in an attempt to prevent mass shootings, a move certain to prove fiercely, you know, divisive. And so I wanted to get you guys' opinion on this solution. Do you think this is a good route to give our teachers guns, you know, or do you think that we should come up with something better, you know? And Damona, I'll start with you since you're calling in over the line.
Oh, wow.
Okay, maybe I'll toss it to Julian. No, joking.
I was listening to the president's talk.
Yes.
Live. I was driving my car listening to it on the radio, and I almost crashed my car when he said that. I was like, is he serious?
Right.
Because I have 2 little kids, and the last thing I want is for my children's teachers to be armed in school. To me, that just opens up the possibility of so many more things going wrong than problems that it could solve.
Right.
I mean, he also had the idea of maybe having people who are armed guards on site.
Right.
But a lot of schools actually do already have that. Right. And the problem is that these kind of attacks sometimes are hard to anticipate.
Right,
so we're even hearing today that there was an armed guard
that was
on location and
didn't do
wasn't
anything
there to take down the shooter.
And from my understanding, he actually was aware of what was going on, and they had video footage of him sitting idle, you know, outside of whatever door he was at. And I don't remember all the details, but he was actually aware. And so he's now been released. He's been fired, you know, because the video footage showed that, you know, he decided not to step in and really do his job. You know, that's what he was there to do. And so Trump says, well, Julian, give your opinion on what you think, you know.
I mean, listen, I mean, come on. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have enough issues with, you know, the wrong type of law enforcement officers with guns without the proper training. So here's my thing. If they're going to put something in motion like that, because that's the bottom line, we can sit here and debate it, because I agree with what you're both saying is that I don't think the teachers should have, but if they are going to in fact do that, then make sure that the proper training and protocol is in place and all type of measures, so that way, because people don't know, people get that power in their hands, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. For me, I grew up, the high school that I went to, it was an urban high school. They had a medical program. So here's a fun fact about me. I was actually supposed to be a doctor. So I was pre-med. I studied biology in college and was a pre-med person in high school. So I took bio courses and all that, med courses and all that stuff. And so the school that I went to happened to be in the hood. It was an urban school, but they had this medical program. And we walked through metal detectors every day. We were wanded and our bags were searched. Now, I'm not proud of that, but I am proud that it kept us safe, and I feel like at least start somewhere like that, because I think that, like you said, it's creating a whole nother dynamic, because what if you get a teacher who says, I don't know what to do with this kid, and they just feel threatened, right? And now they're taking a life, you know? And so I just don't think that that's the smartest thing. And so Trump says, it only works when you have people who are very adept to using firearms, of which you have many. Trump said during, the live streaming the conference that he had the other day, or I think it was Wednesday, he said it would be teachers and coaches, and he said this would only obviously be for people who are very adept in handling a gun. It's called concealed carry, where a teacher would have a concealed gun on them. They'd go for special training, and they would be there and would no longer have a gun-free zone. And he feels like for some reason, with maniacs, they will go into a building because they know there's no one there going to fire back. But my thing is, the key word there is maniac. They probably don't care if there's someone there fighting back. And think about all the things that will really have to happen to properly train teachers. And like you're talking about, police officers are not even properly trained. So I just don't think it's a good idea. I was happy to hear from some of the parents speak out to also say, hey, this is not a great idea. And one parent who actually spoke out from the shooting that happened at Sandy Springs, she says, actually, let me pull it up. She says that it is the gun. It's the person behind the gun, and it's about helping people before they ever reach that point. And I agree with her wholeheartedly. Coming up after the break, we have more with No Strings Attached. Keep it locked.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool, and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
For more
more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, beyond differences in I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized, influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the Ultimate Girls Night Turn-Up or the 13th Annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Henry Greer, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D, to this year's Donna Brazile, Jim Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power.
Text us with your shout-outs and requests to 678-613-58557. Radio, knock them down. It's time for Bay or Buster.
All right, it's time for Bay or Buster. This is actually my favorite segment of the show. Yes, it's right. So every week I do a Bay or Buster poll, and I do this on Instagram, and I post a scenario, and it's an opportunity for me to engage with my followers and share their responses to the Bay or Buster poll live on the show. So they like that because they get to hear, me share their responses on the show. Right. So the Bay or Buster poll, I give a scenario, and then you tell me if this is totally Bay, someone you would date or someone you would, wouldn't mind pursuing you, or if it's a straight up Buster, they don't stand a chance. And so I'm going to share what this week's scenario is. Then I'll start with Damona and get her response if it's a Bay or Buster. Then Julian will go to you, and then I'll read what the Gram had to say. All right, so here's this week's Bay or Buster poll. So it's a meme, and on the meme it says, when you see a girl with a big butt, and your girl looks at you to see if you look, or see if you're going to look back at this girl walking by with the big butt, ladies, if he looks, is this still Bay? He can look but don't touch? Or is this Buster behavior, right? And so I was really taken back by the responses that I got on Instagram. I was actually pretty shocked. So I'm excited to share them on the show. But Damona, and I'm not going to use your hubs as a scenario because we don't want to do that. But if it was a situation where someone, you're walking in the mall and you see a girl who is very shapely and she walks by, if the guy looks back to check her out, is that Bay or Buster?
I think it's Bay.
Okay.
I think we are too precious about what behaviors our partners have. As long as he doesn't touch, he can look.
Okay. What about you,
And as long as you feel confident in yourself, it shouldn't be something that threatens you.
Exactly. All right, Julian, you're the guy.
I'm the guy. So I feel like this. There's always a level of respect that needs to be made. At the end of the day, people are going to do what they got to do. But if I think if people look, people are going to look.
Yeah.
Bottom line. But I feel like long as the guy, as the woman, that the guy adores you.
Yeah.
And you have mutual respect for one another. You respect other people, too. People look great.
Yeah.
People out here doing their thing. It's okay. Compliment them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But just make sure you compliment, as a guy, make sure you stay complimenting your wife or your woman 100 times more than you may ever take a blink at anyone else. You see what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. People are people,
Yeah. All right, well, here's what the Gram has to say, then I'll give my little 2 cents. So, Shorty and Sin says, as long as he's not drooling looking like a thirst bucket, because some eye candy walks my way, I would like to take a glance too. Come up with little code phrases for attractive people and make it fun. Right. It's great to make laughs and have fun moments. So that was Sin and Shorty, or Shorty and Sin. Then you have Camille Braxton that says, he is still Bay, and you already know the best. This is a friend of mine, so she said, listen, I'd probably be looking too. That was with the rest was. Leah the Creative says, there's 100% chance that I'm looking too. So she's like, this is bad. Chanel number 5 says, laughing out loud. Inner Healing _ doctor says, laughing out loud with the laughing emojis. And then Miss Megan Sierra says, bae, because I'm probably looking too, and we can talk about it together. Yeah. So I was really shocked that this wasn't like a mixed, back and forth. Everybody was like, no, this is still bae. And you know what? I agree. Me and my husband are out sometimes, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that is an attractive person. Wow, and, we just keep it moving. But like you said, no, we're not blind. Right. And there are attractive people out here that are, in the world. And so as long as you don't touch, like Julian said, as long as you're complimenting the one that you're with more than you're complimenting the stranger out in the street, then you should be good. And hands off. Hands off. So it's clear that this week's Bae or Buster poll was bae. Coming up after the break, we have more with the Snatchback after this. Keep it locked.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Okay, guys, and we are back. And Miss Damona, I wanted to talk to you for a second because we didn't get an opportunity to talk about, one, what you have coming up next, two, how we can listen to your radio show, because you also have a radio show, and where we can follow you on social media. So what do you have coming up next that we can support? How can we tune into your show, and where can we follow you?
Yeah, so I am the love expert for BET.com.
Yes.
So I have articles that come out every couple of weeks there, and it's always something provocative, sometimes inspired by what's happening with celebrity relationships, sometimes just what's going on socially, but it's always worth reading there at BET.com. And then Dates and Mates with Damona Hoffman is my radio show and podcast, and we are on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, pretty much wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find us there. And my last guest was Pastor Calvin from Married at First Sight, who I think lives in Atlanta, actually. And so he was on my show talking about building a long-term relationship. And
awesome.
we always have fun on the show, and I take questions from listeners and really dissect what's going on in dating and relationships today. So that's at datesandmates.com, or you can look it up wherever you get your podcast.
Love it. And where can we follow you on social media?
I'm pretty much everywhere at Damona Hoffman, DAMONA HOFFMAN.
And, you mentioned Married at First Sight. I absolutely love that show. I had Rachel D'Alto on my show back in October, I think it was, and I love Rachel. Love her.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine. She's awesome.
Yes, and I love what they're doing with that show. And so good luck if you guys could do something. That would be awesome, especially if they bring it to L.A., because I don't think it's been to L.A., has it?
They haven't been to L.A.
I'm shocked.
That's good. I should let them know I'm available.
Exactly. Hit up Damona in L.A. That would be awesome. So good. So who is your favorite couple right now on Married at First Sight? Are you tuned in?
I am tuned in. I'm rooting for Jesse and Shawnice, of course. Yeah, we want Black love to make it.
That's right.
So, that's who I'm rooting for. But I feel like all the couples are really well matched, except for Molly and I forget.
Theirs
Molly
is a little
and
tricky.
Jonathan. I don't know if that one's going to work out. That kind of seems like two pretty people that they put together that maybe don't have that attraction between each other. But you never know. I've been surprised in previous seasons. As the relation, as they get to know each other on a deeper level, then sometimes the relationship changes. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Julian, we know you have your show coming up that's on tour. Anything else that you have coming up that you want to talk about? I know I have this cute little bag over here. What's in this bag?
Tell these people what it is.
Okay, so I know I've got some fragrance in here, some cream, and a nice little martini glass. What's going on with that?
In the bar, we got Hefe.
Yes.
Okay, Hefe, the Hefe collection. In the Hefe collection, we have a cream line which has argan, Moroccan oil, tea tree oils, all natural oils, as well as great natural fragrances, and it lasts, and it's good for your skin and everything. And then we have the mist oil version of it. Yeah. So we have two versions: the cream and the oil and the mist. And then we have the martini glasses. That's just a complimentary gift from Raising the Bar, the talk show. All of the it's a live studio audience. Number one. Like a talk show, and it's always in a lounge type setting. Yeah. And we have all the elements of you wanting to go and live that VIP life, that VIP life. Yeah. We got you. We're going to have a great time. So that's what's going on with that. I mean, we got so much. We got the music. That's coming out. We have a couple.
That's right.
Some recording artists. I have my music project that I'm finally releasing.
Okay. What are you doing now? Are you a singer, rapper?
Rap.
You rap.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you describe your rap? Or what kind of, is it just hip-hop, straight hip-hop?
Is it? No, I'm a grown-up.
You're grown up.
It's empowerment. Okay. It's overall empowerment. Okay. As a whole. So you listen to my music, you will be motivated and empowered. Okay. Instantly. Like, as soon as it happens, it's just a supernatural thing that just happens. Okay. So, and if you're talking, grown folks, though, I don't talk, anything less than what you see. Yeah. That's my life, for real.
So how do we find out information about the fragrance and the oils and all of that stuff? Where can we go to find out information about that? Because I know you have launches coming up.
Right. If everyone stays tuned with RTB, so rtbtalkshow.com, which is part of the RTB Media brand, and then they stay connected there. Go subscribe to the newsletter and whatnot, and then they'll be introduced to the different links and websites for all the brands. Okay. Individually, yeah.
So one thing you mentioned during the break about your show, which I loved, and it's actually a different dynamic, is that you actually have 10 guests, for your show.
We have 10 here in Atlanta.
Here in Atlanta. That's a big lineup,
It's a huge lineup. I got a little flack and a little pushback for it, but I got to make the executive decision, so it is what it is. But I really feel like because there were so many different types of women in that room,
especially in Atlanta.
There's so many different type of women that they need to glean from. Everyone connects differently. There's like learning differentiation. Right. And so, however, I brought enough. Everybody in that room should have walked away with something from somebody. I made sure that, and I feel like this is best like this, especially because it's not a stationary show that we do every day, every week. We're traveling around the country with it. So I want to make the biggest bang for my buck when I hit the city. Yeah. I want to bring as many women, dynamic women, the best. And I'm not going to say just the best of the best, but just it's so many. There's so many women out here that are awesome. It's like I can't do it for everybody. Not yet.
Not yet.
But with the help of women like you that do what you do,
thank you.
You can help and assist this movement as far as women empowering other women. And just me happen to be a man with some other cool guys that's with me. We get to do it together.
So why women? You're a man. Who's decided to take on a show that is primarily for women or all for women. What made you decide to target that demographic?
Why not? I'm asking a real question. Why not? Because at the end of the day, I was a man raised by women, strong women. Some super strong. Where it almost some situations, some of the men were maybe could have felt, emasculated, or whatever the case may be, because of how strong the women were. Right. And then I saw some issues growing up with other people, just friends and family and just personal relationships, just seeing different forms of domestic violence and sexual abuse. I was sexually abused as a child. Okay. And just seeing the women having to deal with all these type of situations alone.
Yeah.
And so me as a man, I said, you know what? Let me do what I can. And I'm here to help.
Yeah.
And I'll make this clear. I put this disclaimer out. I do not have all the answers for women empowerment.
Yeah.
You understand? I'm not claiming that.
Yeah.
But I know how to throw a party.
Okay.
I know how to gather people, and I know how to honor someone, and how to, invite some cool friends, invite some other friends, and let me introduce these friends to this group of friends, and just show them what they do, and now everybody work together.
I love that.
And the beautiful thing about it is, I'm not trying to take up your time.
No, you're fine. We got time. We got
time. But with our organization, there's nothing but women. We have a handful of guys in our organization, as far as the Hefe group, Raising the Bar, Brittano, it's all women.
Yeah.
And me having to evolve into that place of being able to fall back and empower, allow them to be the ones out in doing the work and out in the forefront with it, and being submissive at many times to their suggestions, their counsel, their advice. That's why this thing is taking off the way it is. Okay. It's not Julian. I'm a piece. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
These women are the ones that's doing it. So it's like, I see the power. I see where it's at. It's with you all.
You better say that, Julian.
It is what it is. And it's not the point. It's just real talk. A man, a man that finds a wife isn't just someone you lay up with. A wife is someone that you see something in them and you want to pull it out and tend to their garden and help them, empower them so that they could manifest the things that they need to. That's a wife. Sort of like Solomon. People think Solomon in the Bible was just out there smashing all these women and this and that. It wasn't about that. He created economy and infrastructure across the world with embodying and saying, okay, I believe in what you got going on in your country, where you from. Here, let me help you do what you got to do. And that's what he did. Now, he might have fell in some other areas, but overall, he understood women empowerment, and that's why he was considered the wisest.
All right, you guys heard it from Julian. Coming up, we want to talk more about Black love and Damona's experience with helping 5 women achieve that in the city. Keep it locked right here, guys. You don't want to miss it.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Major key alert. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized and influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the ultimate girls' night turn-up or the 13th annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D to this year's Donna Brazil, Jen Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power. People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
If you're looking for that ratchet, you're in the wrong place. It's the nation's urban internet station, Sensation Station Network.
All right, guys, we are back, and we are back with a caller on the line. Caller, tell us your name, and welcome to No Strings Attached.
My name is Wesley Clark. I just wanted to call and say, babe, I love you.
Oh, God,
the show's been magnificent. Every week, we tune in, we watch. If I can't watch with the girls, I'll watch it as soon as I get them home. So I just wanted to say I love you, and I hope God continues to use you on this platform and wherever you go next. I pray that success will follow you, and I want to thank Prime, also the man behind the scenes, for allowing us to use his platform, and I wish nothing but the best for him too. So, thank you.
Oh, babe, I love you so much. Thank you. You just made me cry. I did not see that coming at all. Oh, thank you so much. Your support has been amazing. I appreciate you, and thank you for all that you do and all that you are to me and our girls.
All right, it wouldn't be possible without you either, so thank you. Love you.
Love you too.
All right.
Well, then. Got me blushing on the show.
Wesley, right now, she's a little flustered right now.
I'm so flustered.
Thank you very much for sharing your
gosh.
wonderful partner and wife with the world, so we can go and do what we
man,
gotta do.
that was so sweet. Thank you so much, babe. That was so sweet. Okay, so guys, we are back in the Snatchback. Damona, I wanted to talk to you because the other part of the Snatchback is about, helping women and empowering them, like Julian's been talking about with his platform, getting them to understand their worth and, confidently walk in that, especially in the dating space, because we see a lot of people today that are in and out of bad relationships, making poor decisions, and they're settling for whatever reasons. We've all got stuff, so we're dealing with stuff from our past and allowing different things that shouldn't lead us in our decision making in the dating space. And so I wanted to talk about this show because, I primarily work with Black women, not because that's the niche that I went after, but because I'm a Black woman naturally, that's the audience that I attracted. And so I know that there's a huge struggle, for Black women in the dating space today. And so you got the opportunity to work with 5 amazing Black women, one of which who was actually on Married at First Sight. I think it was the first season, maybe. And you got the opportunity to work with them with Jack Daniels and kind of coach them and have sessions with them as they tried to have success in love. And so what did you find were some of the main struggles, these women experience, during their journey?
One of the main struggles that I helped try to illuminate for them was getting clarity on who you're really looking for. Like, one of the things that came up for Monet, who you were referring to from Married at First Sight, she had thought that she wanted a traditional man in a traditional relationship. And that's what they ended up marrying her to in Married at First Sight. But then when she really began to dissect what that meant, she realized that that was not actually what she wanted. And I think we have these images of this is what a relationship is supposed to look like, and this is what the role of a Black woman should be in the marriage and the family. And sometimes that does not align with who we are and what we really want for our lives. And Monet is a very focused career woman. And when she was expected to have dinner on the table at 6 o'clock, it didn't work out so well. So she really had to re-examine that and go inside and say, well, what do I want for my life? And how do I find a partner that really fits into my life? And how do I want to feel in that relationship? It's not about what he looks like. It's not about how much money he makes. It's about how do you feel. And when she was with Vaughn on Married at First Sight, she didn't feel so great about herself, and she knew that that was not the right relationship for her. And that's a big theme for all the clients that I work with. I still do offer personal coaching as well for singles, and this is something that I'm constantly having to do for people. When I say, well, what are you looking for? They either don't know, or they're often really disillusioned about what their options are and how to find the mate that really is a good match for them.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head with that one, and that's something that I found a lot of people, women specifically, don't know. They are caught up in whatever fantasy they've created for themselves that oftentimes is not realistic, and that is what they're going for. So love can only show up, love can only look like this one thing. So anything else that presents itself is off the table, right? And it could be be the very thing that they really need. You know, and so, you know, Julian, what I wanted to ask you, because, you know, with my experience with working with black women, a lot of them say that, you know, there's not enough black men out there. They're either incarcerated, they're either, you know, not interested in black women anymore. They, you know, they want to date outside of their race. And so, as a black man, do you agree with that? How do you feel about that?
I feel like, just like if you have a company, right, and you're looking to hire the right candidate, there are plenty of prospects out there that are qualified, but in order to get the right candidate, you know, select the right employee or the right person to bring on board, you have to ask the right questions during the interview process.
Makes sense.
And what happens is, especially with like one of the like for instance one organization, and I know these women are awesome, you know, a lot of professional women, you know, business owners and entrepreneurs and things like that. So what happens is, what tends to happen in my experience is just observing, asking questions, and just seeing things, is that with the high stress, especially for black women, and a lot of them single parents, a lot of them this and that, live in that same cycle, and their lifestyle is so high strung, it's trying to be the business, trying to be the boss, trying to be the this, trying to be that, that any sign of relief from that lifestyle, from that hectic daily schedule, in the form of someone that could possibly be a mate in some form or fashion, is it actually triggers something psychologically and chemically in your body to release a hormone to say, oh, I have downtime right now. And so they don't want to disrupt that downtime. So they can tend to let things just kind of just sweep under the rug, this and that. I'm not going to pay attention to that because the downtime was so euphoric for them, versus taking that time to channel in those questions that really mean something, like, let me really find out the compatibility for real, and not just enjoying them time. So they don't let 2-3 weeks, a month go went by. Now they an item of some sorts, and they forgot the whole process of, again, identifying who they are and what they want, and communicating it. But don't let those emotions and that good feeling moments, you know,
and you know, a lot of times what I've found too, that there's a fear with, and it's something I've had to work with my clients, there's a fear with communicating their desires because they feel like it's not going to get met. They feel like there's going to be rejection on the other end of that. And so it's almost like, well, let me just be quiet because, like you said, I'm enjoying this right now, and I don't want to scare him off. I don't want to mess anything up.
Ask the question.
And this is how people end up 5 years later, like, how did we get here?
If I can even say something else, like, for instance, let's say you had money. I bet you're going to ask a bunch of questions before you give away some of your money.
Of course.
Somebody trying to get in those pockets. You're going to be like, well, why you need it? Who you need it for? How long you need it for? When I'm going to get it back? This, and that. So ask the same question. Somebody trying to get in. They're trying to get in your pockets. You got somebody trying to get into your pants. What you going to ask them? You see what I'm saying? You need to ask them more questions you ask the person trying to get in your pockets.
Well, today, you know, unfortunately, I've seen where, and I'm sure we all have, where the body is not valued as much as it used to be. It is something that is, it's our temple, and we do not value it in the way that it should be valued. And it's so unfortunate, especially for all the young girls that I come across who are just freely, you know, giving themselves and don't realize the value that they hold and the importance of what they have. And so it really just breaks my heart. You know, Damona, we were talking about, you know, you being on the show and helping these women kind of navigate through the dating space and kind of get through some of these hurdles that a lot of black women experience in the dating world. What are some of the tools that you use to help them that you found were successful that maybe the ladies that are listening now may be able to utilize in their own dating lives?
Well, one of the tools is dating sites and dating apps. and
I'm all for that, by the way. I believe the numbers don't lie with online dating. You know, I've connected people via online dating. I've known people who are married off of online dating. So I'm all for online dating if you want to use that as a tool.
And look, we're busy. We don't have time to be all places at all times and to make finding a mate our top priority. And, you know, 20, 30 years ago, maybe that was something that could be a bigger focus in your life. But now we have tools. We have the ability to use a tool that makes it more efficient for you to make more connections. But I do feel that is a big obstacle for a lot of my clients. They come to me and they're like, well, I don't want to do online dating. Well, it feels weird to me, or I feel like I've stooped to some low level if I have to be on a dating site or dating app. And the big message is that those days are gone, and this is how the majority of people are meeting and dating in today's world. It doesn't mean if you're on a dating site or dating app, that's the only way you should be meeting someone. But I actually found when I was online dating that I met more men everywhere I went because I was getting more practice at dating. I was more confident. Like some of the women on the show hadn't dated in a while, and so I look at dating as a learned skill. I think sometimes women beat themselves up if they've kind of forgotten how to flirt, or they don't really know how to do it, or you spend 40, 50, 60 hours in a professional job where you're practicing being more closed off and being more professional. And then what do you expect to happen when you go out on a date and you have to be fun and flirty? You've been practicing a different behavior for the whole rest of your week. So I look at it as something that needs to be trained and experienced for you to get good at dating.
It's so funny that you say that because I say this all the time. Relationships is the one thing that we want, but the one thing that we don't prepare, study, or train for. You know, and
it's crazy,
I wish we did that.
We think everybody's just supposed to know.
And we don't, you know, and it's not something that comes easy or naturally for a lot of people. And so that's where people like, you know, Damona and I come into place where we can help you strategize and find success. And Julian, too, obviously, raising the bar. He's empowering you to go out there and get your stuff, right?
We here to help. We here to help. Come on.
Well, coming up, we're going to have more with these two, and then I have my weekend hookup red flags for you, so you don't want to miss it. Keep it locked.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He guides us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. You know, I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bath water to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Are we back? I think we are. We were in some deep conversation back here. I wanted to continue the conversation and specifically talk about self-love and self-worth. You know, the Snatchback is all about helping women really identify and realize that they are worthy, they are enough, you do matter, and you can have the desires of your heart. And I want to start with you, Julian. You know, with the idea of self-love, what do you think is the number one challenge right now that women are experiencing when it comes to understanding that they're valuable from a male's perspective?
Well, from what I'm told,
okay,
you see what I'm saying? I'm going off of my experiences and my conversations and just observations, is that the women don't have that mirror to reflect and you show them. And a lot of times when you show, it's also telling. It's someone's actions doing certain things. It's people saying, let me stop what I'm doing to help you do what you do.
Yeah.
Or what is it that you want to do? Or what is this going on? Because all of that's part of the loving, self-love part, and that adoration and the affirmation.
Yeah.
And everybody feels like, oh, I got to just do, vision boards, and I'm just going to stay in my own zone. But no, it does take a village. One person isn't an island. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does take other people to affirm some things sometimes. That's just human nature. We want to be super strong and think I can do it all by myself. That's not how this works.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so I think them surrounding themselves with the right people that can recognize the greatness in them.
Okay.
And to be able to, and that is what constantly fuels the greatness to keep coming out further and further and further, and pulling it out from them. So I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's the circles that they keep.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, one thing I'll say from my own personal experience, and then I'll get an honest response. That self-love, believe it or not, and self-worth was something that I struggled with so much. And I was on my own personal journey with, really realizing that, Dominic, you are amazing, and you're unique, and that's on purpose. And, God has a plan for you, and no, you don't look like and have, look like this girl, or you don't have this, but you have what you have. You are equipped with everything that you'll ever need to be who God created you to be. But I had to realize that within myself first. And then once I understood that, I could then recognize when the right people weren't around me.
Exactly.
To then be able to, okay, it's time to shed the dead weight.
There you go.
And then I was able to be more selective about my tribe. you know, and so I definitely think it starts with self.
It definitely starts there.
And acknowledging that first. And of course, it helps to have people around you. And you want that. You want to be able to affirm other people. Like, I mean, today we've all kind of been affirming each other and kind of like pouring into and encouraging each other based off what we've been able to see in one another. And I think that's very important because I think it helps with knowing that you're either going in the right direction or I'm not crazy. You know, I'm not making this up like I am. But, you know, I think it starts with self. And I think once you are able to identify within self, you're able to identify who should be around you and who should not. Damona, what do you think? You know, what advice do you have for the ladies who are listening in terms of understanding their worth and, you know, the value of self-love, especially when it comes to dating and relationships?
Well, I love everything that you and Julian just said, and I believe in visioning and the law of attraction, and you get back what you're putting out.
Yeah.
But I actually just recently did a few videos on LinkedIn about having self-love rituals and ways to you really have to practice. Like I just said, dating and flirting was a practice. You actually have to practice self-love.
It's a
because
daily
a lot of times
practice.
the messages that you're sending to yourself affirm feelings of low worth and low vibration, and it's actually retraining your brain can realign those neural pathways so that you are feeling better about yourself. And sometimes it's something as simple as just changing that thought. Like if you look in the mirror and you're looking at ways to judge yourself, find things that you love about yourself and let the voice of those things become louder than the things that you're being critical about. And then really taking the time. And I mean, this is something that I work on daily. As someone who has a very full life and has a family, I have to actually put that time in the calendar for me to do meditation and to take a yoga class and to work on my fitness and really take those moments to fill myself back up and not be in a space of like give, because then if you're always giving, you'll be depleted. You have to take those times to fill yourself back up.
I love that. You know, it's so important for us to feed our soul. And I think, like you said, especially if you are a mom or someone who has a lot of responsibilities, you're constantly pouring out. But what's supposed to happen is, you know, we're supposed to fill our cup. And then whatever overflows from that excess is what we're supposed to give to other people. And, you know, something that I just started for myself is getting up a little earlier and having my alone time and reading and feeding my soul and pouring into me, you know, and not just, you know, all sorts of books, you know, different topics. You know, right now I'm reading Believe Bigger by Marshawn Evans, and I love this book, and it's about purpose and all of that stuff. And it's really awakening, you know, things inside of me. It's helping me think. It's helping me, you know, grow. And it makes me feel good, you know, because I know that I'm doing something for me. It's my time. It's my sacred time. You know, like April said earlier, sometimes you just got to step away for a few hours and take advantage of those pockets of time that you can give to yourself and really feed yourself because it's important. Self-care is a huge part.
But you made the time happen. I think a lot of times people assume like, well, I'll just do it when I find the time.
No.
And you really have to schedule in time for yourself the way that you schedule in time for another person.
You have to be intentional about it. And is it easy to say, oh, I'm going to get up early to do this? No. But I knew that with my busy schedule, with me being a mom, by the time I get home, we're cooking dinner, we're getting the kids' homework, we're putting them in bed, the back and forth between them, getting up and down from the bed. We're tired. We're ready to go to bed. You know, we're ready to go to sleep ourselves. And so I have to, you know, you have to be intentional about carving that time out for yourself. Absolutely. Like Damona said, putting it on the calendar, and just creating that time, carving out that time to love on you and feeding your soul. I want you guys to give one piece of advice for the people who are listening in terms of dating. And so, Julian, I want you to give a piece of advice for the fellas who are navigating dating right now. Fellas, listen up, okay? Because it's not just about the girls, because, you know, and I think that's something that, you know, women kind of get frustrated with, too. There's all this stuff about, okay, women need to do that, women need to do this. But what do the guys need to do, Julian?
The guys need to take time, sit down. Sit your behinds down.
Okay.
Sit down, turn the TV off, turn the radio off, phone off, everything. Just sit quiet and step outside yourself and find that place. When I say step outside yourself, step outside your mindset. Step outside of your box of how you think about things. and tap into that oneness with yourself, and you could, whatever you want to hashtag it today, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Connect and understand your purpose in this world.
Yes.
Understand your purpose for being, not just I'm just going to get money, gotta get money, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I.
Yeah.
Stop it. Put it aside and say, what am I purpose for here? Who's going to benefit from me being here? Who's going to benefit? How do they benefit? Now that becomes your purpose.
Yeah.
Now you can start moving. Now, as like we said earlier, as you start moving and navigating within your purpose, then you begin to start there.
Yeah.
Number one. But then as you're doing that, you're going to come across different people, a lot of women. And so what you do is don't look to see, how can I get with them or what.
Yeah.
No, your first thought should be, how can I help them genuinely, organically? I don't want nothing from them.
Okay.
And then when you start thinking like that, then you start to appreciate the woman as a whole. And then that's when your selection process increases and becomes better.
Yeah, because when you're walking in your purpose, I think you're also able to say, okay, this is what I need. You have clarity.
Exactly, you have clarity.
Because it's like, okay, because I know God or whoever you want to call to, Jesus is my best friend, has placed me here for this specific reason.
Right.
I now know that I need this type of person to help me bring this through. And so I agree with you. Purpose, I'm big on purpose. I love that. And I'm definitely big on being in alignment with whatever your calling is. And then finding someone who understands that too. Right. Coming up, we're going to get Damona's response, and we're going to get into these weekend hookup red flags. Keep it locked.
Text us with your shout-outs and requests to 678-613-58557. Radio, knock them down.
All right, Damona, so normally I have my weekend hookup red flags, but I'm looking at the time. But I'm still going to get you to contribute to this. It's Friday night. People are going out. It's the weekend. You might meet somebody special. So in the event that you do, I want to make sure that you have, some advice, some tools, some knowledge on whether to select, this person or not. Is this Mr. or Mrs. Right? So I like to end the show with a tip from you guys. So Julian gave us his tip.
Yeah.
Disconnect from the external stuff and connect internally or to a higher power.
Right.
Find your purpose and walk in that. All right, Damona, what is your, red flag to look at or advice for the ladies, before stepping out into the dating scene this weekend?
Well, my tagline that you'll see on DamonaHoffman.com is "Love as you are," and that's really the guidepost for all of my dating philosophy. There's too much pressure to be someone else, to look like someone else, to think a different way, to walk a different way, to dress a different way, to be lovable. And so what I'm trying to convey to all of my clients and all of your listeners is that when you are your authentic self, you attract someone who falls in love with the authentic you and not with something that you have to keep up a pretense to be. So really just love as you are. That's my message.
I love it. Well, did you guys feel the energy today? I mean, I cannot imagine a better way to end my time here. This was an amazing show, amazing guest. I'm so honored to have been here and to have you guys on the show. I mean, it was an OWN TV and FYI takeover today. It was awesome. I'm so happy to have you guys and that you guys said yes and shared, your voices to my listeners who, learned about me through the Sensation Station Network, and those who learned about, the Sensation Station Network through just me saying, hey guys, I'm a new host on this station. Thank you so much for following me, for supporting me, for calling in, being a part of the show, and just contributing to what was truly an amazing experience for me. I learned so much about myself being here. I learned what I can do, what God has for me after this, and I know that I wouldn't have been able to realize that without this experience. So thank you guys so much. Thank you to my husband and my girls for sacrificing and allowing me to travel and do what I do, because without them I could not do this. So I'm so grateful for their continued support. Thank you for my mama, who would drive every weekend with me sometimes to make sure that I got here, wouldn't travel alone on the highways by myself. All the family who listened and friends who listened and commented and shared the show and just told me I was doing a good job. Thank you. And last but not least, thank you to Mr. Prime, Shine Prime Network owner, for having me here, coaching me up, and giving me such an amazing opportunity to share my gift with all of you. So make sure you guys follow me on social media at @DClarkandCo. See where I'm going next. And until next time, it's no strings attached.